and welcome to this week's edition of 5 Things to Know for Tokyo 2020. My name is Ken Hanscom, and each week I bring you the latest stories and news with all the things leading up to Tokyo 2020. You'll notice a couple of different things this week. One, I'm back in the studio, and two, I've switched these videos to Monday because it helps with maybe taking a look back at the past week as well as looking forward to next week. And as we go throughout the next year in the run up to Tokyo 2020, that allows us to accomplish both kind of looking back and what's going to be coming up over the next week or so. So with that, let's get on to number one for this week. Cosport ticket sale. It was really exciting for a lot of people last week to see what happened on September 8th when 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern rolled around in terms of what tickets would be available. Would people be able to find swimming? Would people be able to find gymnastics and those unicorns, both opening and closing ceremonies? Well, the result was that there were quite a few tickets out there and some ones we don't see very often. Skateboarding, surfing, several others made an appearance. No swimming, no gymnastics. Now, opening and closing ceremonies were available through packages, and even through packages, they sell out pretty quick. So opening ceremony is already sold out. Now, closing ceremony still has a couple of packages available on Cosport if you're still looking for tickets. And that was last week's sale on Cosport. Now on to number two. Last week, the IOC had an executive board session, and in that they continued updating with the planning for Tokyo 2020 and 2021, starting to discuss some of the potential coronavirus and other type measures that might be in place. As you might expect, it's too early to know. Much of the dialogue coming out was, we're going to continue moving forward with Tokyo 2020, whether or not there is a vaccine or not, or a vaccine, that will impact how the actual event takes place, but it will not impact whether or not the event takes place or not. So that's it for now, and as I continue to say, we really won't know what's going to happen in 2021 in terms of spectator and other attendance until we get really to the first quarter of next year. While the countermeasures may be planned, they won't necessarily be implemented until that time frame. And it'll actually impact other items like number 3, which is coming up now. Hospitality houses. As you guys know, those who know me, I love hospitality houses. And when we were getting towards Tokyo 2020 earlier this year before it was postponed, the Holland Heineken House had already announced that due to what was going on with the coronavirus, that they were no longer going to have the Holland Heineken House, which is probably the favorite house in terms of the open houses that are out there. As we look forward towards next summer, we really don't know yet what hospitality houses are going to be or if there's going to be the ability to have them. However, this week in Japan, the Pride House announced that it was going to open up. The Pride House has been in effect since 2012 at each of the Olympic Games, starting with Vancouver, and it's the first confirmed for next year that will be in operation up until and during the Olympic periods. So what we'll do is we'll continue to keep an eye on that. I have an article here which I list all of the different hospitality houses that are available, their current status, and what the criteria are. Some are open, some are closed, some require fees to get in, and there's different types of things, whether it's cultural, whether it's food, whether it's activities, and whether or not the athletes and medalists show up. So keep an eye on that, and I'll continue to update it and update you as we continue throughout the year. Now on to number 4. Coca-Cola made a huge announcement this week with the IPC, the International Paralympic Committee. And for the first time, Coca-Cola is now a global sponsor for the International Paralympic Committee. This is a first for them, and I expect to hear and see a lot more in terms of Coca-Cola's participation in the Paralympic movement over the coming year, as well as the years as they extend that partnership. Coca-Cola has been a long-time sponsor of the overall Olympic movement, and it's really great to see them also contribute here with the Paralympic Committee. Now on to number 5. Have you ever wanted to rent out an Olympic venue before the Olympics? Well, now you can possibly do it for Tokyo 2020. A number of the venues have started reopening over the past few months as different measures have been put in place in terms of preventing the spread of COVID-19. One of the first to do it was the Kayaking and Canoe Center, and as part of it, as a group or as a body or as a competition, a group of competitors, you can rent out that venue for roughly $540 an hour. If you're not willing to spend that much, or you're actually not in a position, for example, as an athlete to be able to do that as they're making it available mainly to athletes to prepare for next summer's Olympic Games, eventually they plan to resume the rafting tours that they offered last summer for roughly 3,500 yen. That was very, very popular, and the wait list filled up very quickly. So keep an eye out from that as these venues continue to open, and there's actually time between now and the games. There are various opportunities for groups and bodies to rent out those facilities. That's it for this week on 5 Things to Know for Tokyo 2020. I hope you like the new format, specifically here on Monday, and I look forward to catching you next week.